Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The City of Belleville acknowledges we are meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations. We recognize and honor the historic relationship of the Indigenous peoples to this land, and acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within them. We recognize all First Nations and Inuit who call Belleville their home and support the need for cultivating a strong relationship with them. We look forward to fostering a path towards reconciliation and show respect for the Indigenous peoples who first lived and currently live on this land where we all now reside together. Please remain standing for a moment of reflection from our City Clerk.
May we be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. Help us to be concerned only for what will promote good government. May we bring to our council chambers minds that think and hearts that feel, always having respect for others, so that we may serve the people of our city in a helpful manner and for the good of all.
Please be seated. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none, we're all here tonight. I need a motion for the approval of the council meeting held on March 23rd, 26, April 7th, 26, and April 7th, 26 be approved. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Wright Miller. Any discussion from the minutes? All in favor? Carried. I now need a motion for the Rise and Go Committee of the Whole at 4:02 p.m. with Councillor Brown, the chair. Moved by Councillor Chapman, seconded by Councillor Sue. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you, Your Worship. 8A, reports. The agenda shall include under reports items that warrant individual attention from Council. 8A1 is Swim to Survive Program Funding Plan. Report number RPS 2026-01. The recommendation reads that the Recreation Program Supervisor's Report RPS-2026-01 Swim to Survive Program funding be received. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Sue, seconder. Thank you. Councillor Kelly, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. The motion's carried. 8A2, Low-Income Senior and Persons with Disabilities Rebate Policy for Water and Wastewater Charges. Report number DDF-2026-02, and the recommendation reads that Council approve the low-income senior and persons with disabilities rebate policy for water and wastewater charges. May I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Thompson and Councillor Enright Miller. Discussion? Thank you, Councillor Thompson.
Thank you. Just want to note on this, it's great to see it coming forward. It's just another avenue that we're helping the low income and seniors people. It then follows the original motion that we, the tax rebate for seniors, low income people. So this sort of just ties in with that one. And you know, and when you look at it, if they fully get to be able to access both of them, there's a possibility of $420 refund for water and sewer, or a credit rather, and a $200 for just water service. So, you know, it may not be a lot, but in today's day and age, when we can combine that with the tax rebate and the sewer and water, I think it makes some little bit of difference for the person on the low income. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. The motion's carried. Item number 8A3, Capital Budget Amendment, Road Resurfacing of Phillipston Road. Report number DTOS 2026-03, Capital Budget Amendment, Road Resurfacing of Phillipston Road. And the recommendation reads that pursuant to the Director, Transportation and Operations Services, Report number DTOS 2026-03, the 2026 capital budget item number 1.013, road resurfacing, be amended in the amount of $1,345,000 to be funded by the Asset Reserve Fund in the amount of $150,000, and reduce funding of the 2026 budget 1.014 pavement ceiling in the amount of $45,000, and reduce funding of the 2026 capital budget 1.012 shave and pave program pavement ceiling in the amount of $350,000, and cancel the funding of the 2026 capital budget 1.011 Phillipston Road property utilities approvals in the amount of $800,000. May I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Carr and Mayor Ellis. Discussion. Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and it's great to see this here before Council today. Introduced the motion back in 2020, almost 5 years, well over 5 years ago now, which was adopted in 2021 for the initial design work for this location. And I know that our Engineering and Development Services Department has been inundated with capital projects over the years, and the list is long and heavy. And I know that there's been some rebalancing, so I appreciate it. I know I've had a number of conversations with the CAO at Finance Committee as we review capital projects, and so I appreciate the collaboration of staff trying to find a solution. I do have two questions, though, if I could, through you to Director Reid. With the reallocation of funds as outlined in the recommendation, namely a reduction in pavement sealing and shave and pave program, will it result in a reduction of already planned roads for 2026?
Director Reid?
Yep. Through the chair to Councillor Carr. No, those tenders have actually already been issued, so we have the pricing in. So we were very fortunate to have some reduction in costs. So we had allocated those allocations already assigned for road sealing and reclamite and the shave and pave program. So we were able to utilize those funds and allocate it towards this project.
And that's great to hear, Madam Chair, because didn't want to sacrifice any of the already pre-existing roads listed for this year. My second question to the Director is perhaps maybe could you give us an outline of some of the scope of work involved? I know that it talks about resurfacing, but as you can imagine, with this road being a significant north-south corridor in the rural area, a lot of folks use it every day. I know all our great farmers out there use it to get access to their various fields and help with our food security in the area. So just give an idea as to what the scope of all the work that will be done.
Director Reid?
Yep. Through the chair to Councillor Carr, we have identified 12 culverts that need to be replaced, so we'll be replacing those in the next few weeks to a month. The plan is to, again, it's strictly a road resurfacing project, so we will be pulverizing the road, adding a little bit of A gravel, and then paving it out as wide as we possibly can. Currently, it's around like 6.5 to 6.9 meters wide, so we're going to try to extend it to a little over 7 meter lane width, but it is primarily just a road resurfacing project and trying to make that a little more enjoyable ride quality for the residents. To mitigate some of the concerns we have, we will be doing some signage, cautionary signage and so forth, because it won't be addressing any of the steep curves or hills.
Okay, that's great to hear. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. The motion's carried. Moving on to item 8A4, food trucks in city parks, report DCSD 2026-01. The recommendation reads that pursuant to the Director of Community Services report DCSD 2026-01, food trucks in city parks, that council approve the implementation of a seasonal food truck program in 2026 as recommended, and further that the 2026 operating budget be amended as outlined in the report. May I have a mover, please? Thank you. Councillor Carr, Councillor Thompson. A discussion on this item? Councillor Carr?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank staff for bringing this report forward. I'd requested this back at the March 9th meeting, and this is a direct result of pop-up cancellation. Council was faced with a number of tax relief measures that were outlined in a staff report, and pop-ups being one of them. But I think we have an opportunity here to recalibrate and allowing opportunity for food trucks in our parks and open spaces and allowing them to operate independently with the no need for staff presence there and things of that nature, no infrastructure. There's an opportunity here to really activate our waterfront. I would like to actually make an amendment to the recommendation if I could, and my amendment would be that staff extend the scope of the RFP to include recreational vendor offerings and other locations where operationally feasible. And I'll speak to that if I have a seconder.
A seconder for that, Councillor Henderson. Discussion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And with that, and I appreciate that staff have identified 3 locations. I think overall, some of our parks, open spaces, and particularly our waterfront, along the entire waterfront, and even somewhat on the riverfront, is underutilized from a recreational perspective, and this is an opportunity for entrepreneurs to try to take advantage of those locations and come up with creative solutions and also some recreational opportunities. Talking with the director, I mentioned that during the pop-ups, one vendor had a kayak and paddleboard operation in West Wicks, and as an experienced kayaker and boater myself, West Wicks is probably the worst location for a rental business, because these are typically new kayakers that are trying out for the very first time, and those prevailing west winds make for very rough conditions. And so I think there's other opportunities along our waterfront, so I'd just like to be able to provide a clean slate, again, whatever's operationally feasible, but see if we can resurrect the pop-ups in a different version. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, I am going to agree with the plus the amendment. The food trucks are a great idea. The only thing I wish, and I don't pointing fingers at anybody, that we had a report coming out about a week ago that we were disbanding the pop-ups, and it would have been nice if we'd have been able to tie these two together so we didn't get the negativity out in the community, because it seemed to get out there quickly that we were not having any pop-ups and these were in the plan. So sometimes we maybe got to make sure that we're working together to make this information get out together, because this is great and we got no staff. So thank you.
Any other discussion on this? Councillor Kelly.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, thanks to Director Lamb for the report. As Councillor Carr mentioned, 3 parks, active parks will be involved: Marianne Sills, Centennial Park, Thurlow Park. And then we have 3 in the passive parks: West Riverside, J. Russell, and South George. My question for the Director is, can you give us a definition of what a food truck is? Not everybody's seeing this report, but hopefully they can hear this conversation. Is it more than French fries?
Director Lamb.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. Food truck would be definitely more than just French fries. It would be anything that serves food or beverage out of a mobile vehicle. So it could be ice cream, it could be pizza, it could be fries, it could be anything of an international flair. But as long as it's serving food or beverage of any type, that would be considered a food truck.
And just to, I think there's lots of potential with this. I could go back to the Festival of Lights under the leadership of Councillor Thompson. There were some food trucks that Friday night when we kicked off the festival, and they were rocking. It was extremely busy, and they were offering different products than what we saw, or French fries. So thank you for that, Director.
Councillor Enright Miller.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to weigh in too and just reiterate everything that our other councillors have said. I think this is a great opportunity for us to fill this gap with the pop-ups now going away. And as Councillor Kelly said, when we do the lighting kickoff event, the food trucks are a big hit, and we could fill the street with food trucks. So I think the more robust we make this program, and we can put them, in various places, and I think we should expand it as much as we can. So thank you, Carrie, for the report.
Any other discussion on this? Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, just one other thing that I think we got to be careful. We're allowing food trucks and everything, but we also got to be careful. We have restaurants that have a fairly big investment in our community, and they need to be, we need both. So I don't want to saturate our city with these, because we still got restaurants that are trying to make a living in our community and paying taxes.
Any further discussion on this? Then voting on the amendment. We have a mover and a seconder. All in favor? Thank you. The amendment is carried. Going back to the main motion now as amended, we have a mover and a seconder. All in favor? Thank you. The motion is carried. Item 8A5, Accountability and Transparency Policy, CC-0 2026-07. The recommendation reads that pursuant to the city clerk's report CC-2026-07, accountability and transparency policy, the draft accountability and transparency policy dated April 2026 be adopted. May I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Enright Miller, Councillor Henderson. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you, the motion's carried. 8A6, election sign bylaw, CC-2026-08, and the recommendation reads that pursuant to the city clerk's report, CC-2026-08, election sign bylaw, the draft election sign bylaw be brought forward to the April 27, 2026 council meeting for council's consideration. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Chatton, a seconder, Councillor Enright Miller. Discussion. Councillor Carr.
Thank you. Just looking at the draft in sign locations, so 3.7, the setback is a minimum of 15 feet from the edge of the traveled portion of the road where there is no sidewalk. But it doesn't indicate, I'm just trying to understand, like, I'm just envisioning a very small lot in a new subdivision, and I'm wondering whether the sign would even fit based on some of these setbacks. So obviously it has to be a foot back from the sidewalk, so I'm assuming that then it would be okay with inside, as long as it's a foot back from the sidewalk, then it's all right. If it's 15 feet from the traveled portion where no sidewalk exists, and I know there's a few subdivisions where they don't have sidewalks, but still very close together, 15 feet setback on a front yard is somebody's front step, and other than maybe the people who live there seeing the sign, no one else will see it. I'm just wondering how we determined that 15 feet was a reasonable setback on a road where there's no sidewalk, but if there's a sidewalk, you only have to be a foot back from the sidewalk, which is closer to the driven portion of the road.
So I'll direct your question to the clerk.
Through the chair to Councillor Carr, the 15 feet was taken in response to the item before that identified 15 feet from the edge of a driveway, 15 feet from the edge of the traveled road. So if it's a hard surfaced road, going back 15 feet, if you have a ditch there, this was more looked at from a rural perspective than the urban roads that don't have curbs.
Okay. I still question whether that setback will be too far, depending on the layout of some subdivisions I know that don't have curbs or sidewalks. The other question I have is with regards to enforcement. We currently have a citywide sign bylaw that doesn't permit off-premise signs. They're popping up all over like dandelions right now. If you want your grass cut, your roof fixed, new concrete, they're popping up everywhere, and we're seeing those now, and they somewhat, I can't say it any other way, they sit there for a long period of time. So I guess the question is that how will this be enforced, considering our current sign bylaw seems to lack some enforcement?
So if I could direct the question to the Director of Corporate Services, Marie?
Through the chair to Councillor Carr, I'll defer to the clerk, please, in terms of that response.
Through the chair to Councillor Carr, discussion has already been had with our bylaw staff, so they will be actively watching when they are out and about. In addition, we will be responding to any complaints that may come in. We anticipate that it shouldn't be too much of an issue with the signage. The hope is to have this bylaw enacted, or the new bylaw enacted prior to nominations opening on May 1st, so that all candidates receive a copy, and we have tried to write it in a very simple manner of your sign shall do this, shall not do this. If I may, If I can bounce back to the previous item, would it be better if it said no curb versus no sidewalk?
Sorry, Madam Chair, through you, in terms of which subsection are you reading?
The 3734, 15 feet from the edge of the traveled road where no curb exists.
That's probably a little bit better of an understanding. 15 feet will still be quite significant because I'm no expert on roads, but in terms of the shoulder being a foot or two, the ditch is anywhere from 6 to 8 feet across, maybe. I've seen signs in the past, particularly in the rural area, that, once you're on the other side of a big ditch, it seems reasonable, but you might not be 15 feet. So as long as I guess there's some reasonableness on the enforcement side when it gets to some of those lots, because if you're going back too far, you might not be able to see it from the road. And I think that's the intent of a sign.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, a couple of questions. So on the election signs, and I'm trying to interpret in here, are they allowed only on private property or are they allowed on city property?
Direct the question to the clerk, if that would.
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson, not in parks, but on road allowances, it is fully anticipated that signs will exist. So not in your parks, not in your community centers, those facilities, not at City Hall, but within the road allowances, then yes, it's fully anticipated that signs will be there.
So basically, we can put signs any place we want then, except parks.
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson, within reason, there are setbacks from intersections, voting places, sidewalks, edge of traveled road, driveways. So within reason, yes.
So have we ever discussed not allowing them on city property?
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson, I'm not sure that we have discussed it. I do know there was we do have a legal opinion previously that identified restricting it completely off of city property would be an issue, and there's also a recent court decision that identifies that it would be an issue to restrict them completely from all city property. So allowing them inside of the road allowances minimizes the risk of a charter challenge.
Yeah, and I can understand there's always charter challenges and always somebody looking to that. But unfortunately, and I've been in this game a long time, and, we get signs popping up all over the place. And unfortunately, it doesn't do our city any good. So, if I had my way, I'd probably do away with election signs. But again, you get the draft that, well, you can't do it because it's a new election coming up. But when do we do that? Sometimes we got to look at the future and say, is that the proper thing anymore, having election signs? Because if you get 28 people and you get 100 signs each, that's 3,000 signs in our property. And I just think and also, have we looked at any other than, in here we got the Tuesday after the long weekend, have we looked at any shorter period? When I'm thinking 6 weeks instead of 7 weeks.
So direct the question to the clerk.
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson, staff looked at the day after Labor Day, part of the recent court decision, and previous legal opinions have identified 30 days is too little, so we were looking at putting it out. I can tell you the day after Labor Day provides 49 days until vote day.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Kelly?
Thank you, through you, Chair. First of all, I just want to go on record as saying I actually liking election signs. It shows that our community are engaged, civic pride, upcoming election. It's an important time, so a lot of those election signs draw attention to municipal election, provincial, federal. So, and there's a lot of history to it, so it's an exciting time. My question was going to be for the clerk, Mr. Irwin, but I'm going to direct it to CAO Matt McDonald. Mr. McDonald, there's a lot of talk about all these different bylaws tonight for election signs. In your history in municipal government, has there been issues at election time and candidates being charged or told to move their signs? So during the election season, are there issues with election signs not being in the right spot?
CAO McDonald?
Through the chair to Councillor Kelly, there absolutely are issues with signs during the election period. I can recall a significant number of signs in Director Reed's Public Works yard for an extended period where bylaw and other staff took them from places that they were clearly not permitted to be. Candidates were advised that their signs had to be removed. If they weren't removed by a specific time and date, they would be removed for them, taken to the yard, and held for a specific period of time, after which they'd be destroyed. As you're all aware, there is a cost to those signs. And surprisingly, we destroyed a significant number of signs every election period in my time with the city. So it is, unfortunately, staff time used for an unintended purpose that is not productive.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't want to belabor this, but I'm looking at the math. So in response to Councillor Thompson's inquiry, the city clerk advised that signs are permitted on road allowances. So if you were looking at 3.7, 3.1, which is the minimum 1 foot setback from a sidewalk, that would technically put an election sign in a road allowance. But if it doesn't have a sidewalk or doesn't have a curb, then you have to be 15 feet back, which would put you probably outside the road allowance. So I'm trying to understand why an election sign would be permitted in the road allowance in the urban area, but it wouldn't be permitted in the rural area based on these measurements.
Refer that to the clerk, if I may.
Through the chair to Councillor Carr, I'm going to speak to it from a road allowance perspective. Typically, they are 66 feet wide minimum. Your road's not always in the center of it. If council wishes a different number there, I can bring it back with a different number.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just think in terms of reasonableness, if you're looking at the entire city, you know, the last thing we need is another urban-rural divide on election signs, but this is certainly looking like it could possibly be that. So I think that 15 feet should be reduced to a reasonable amount. I think that whatever the road width would possibly be, perhaps the opposite side of a ditch in a rural area would be a better way to describe it. That way it's not impeding with up against the shoulder of the road. It's set back far enough on the opposite side of a ditch. I don't think anybody wants to put an election sign in a ditch in a rural area because it probably won't be seen because some of our ditches are quite deep. But I think that would probably be a better way to describe it than actually a 15-foot setback. And then that way it could still be in the road allowance, but it would be set back enough from the driven portion of the road to not create as an obstacle for visibility, if that's reasonable.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, and I, more on Councillor Carr's point on setback, I read this as that April 27th, we're going to bring a consideration back. So would that give the clerk opportunity to look at the setbacks and bring it forward?
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson, that is the intent. That's why the draft's here, is to hear council's comments so that we can go back and make the final tweaks before we bring forward the finalized bylaw.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Then all in favor? Thank you, the motion's carried. 8A7, 2026 Municipal Election Use of Corporate Resources for Election Purposes Policy, CC-2026-09. And the recommendation reads that pursuant to the City Clerk's Report, CC-2026-09, 2026 Municipal Election Use of Corporate Resources for Election Purposes Policy, the draft Use of Corporate Resources for Election Purposes Policy dated April 2026 be adopted, and that all prior versions of the use of corporate resources for election purposes be rescinded. May I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Chatton. Councillor Enright Miller. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you, the motion's carried. Moving on to item 8B, consent items. Council may adopt consent items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such motion, and council shall consider such items individually. Beginning on my left, Councillor Thompson.
No, thank you.
Councillor Carr.
8B3, please.
Councillor Enright Miller.
No, thank you.
Councillor Sue.
No, thank you.
Councillor Henderson.
No, thank you.
Councillor Chatton.
No, thank you, Chair.
Mayor Ellis.
No, thank you.
And Councillor Kelly.
8B4, please.
Then the recommendation reads that consent items 8B1 to 8B4 be approved with the exception of items 8B3 and 8B4. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Mayor Ellis and Councillor Sue. All in favor? Thank you, the motion's carried. Moving on to item 8B3, staff recommendation report for proposed zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw 2024-100 as amended, 25 Old Bay Bridge Road, City of Belleville. The owner is Harbor LP 25, care of Luke Wilson. The applicant agent is Harbor LP 25, care of Tomer Binschek. File number is PLZBA 2025-0251.
Madam Chair, I
Yes.
just move as written.
Thank you. I may have a seconder, please, Councillor Chatton. Discussion, Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to get the report title on record, and I didn't want you to have to go through that. It's already been read at planning. This is related to the property down on Old Bay Bridge Road, and this is a rezoning of a rezoning. We've already rezoned it once. There was supposed to be some condominium towers in there. We were told by the applicant during the Planning Advisory Committee that condominiums aren't selling. We're seeing that in the GTA. I think a lot of people that were involved in real estate investment bought condominiums for that purpose and realized that their investment is not performing the way they wanted it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because I think we need a course correction on real estate. Having said that, the applicants now said that they're looking at a construction of 213 units and some back-to-backs and some stacked and different options. And they advised Planning Advisory that they'll be able to move a little quicker with these and be able to build these in a much more reasonable fashion than looking at a condominium. So I'll certainly be watching the rezoning of the rezoning, and hopefully we see some construction sooner than later. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you, the motion's carried. Moving on to 8B4, and I just beg your indulgence, I need to ask a question of the clerk. Thank you, everyone. 8B4, City of Belleville Grant Committee -2026, first intake of the tourism grant applications Report CRCS-2026-03. The recommendation reads that council approve the recommendations of the grant committee as outlined in the Coordinator of Revenue and Customer Service Report, CRCS-2026-03, City of Belleville Grant Committee-2026, First Intake of Tourism Grant Applications. May I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Enright Miller. Councillor Kelly, any discussion? Councillor Kelly?
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. Just to bring everybody up to speed on this, that might be this tourism grant from the city that might be new to it. It's $100,000 in the kitty. People could apply. This was a change in direction since February of 2026. And as the Economic Development Chair for the City Committee, looked at this closely. So we're awarding $44,000 plus. We had a total of 15 requests for funding, and these are tourism generating events for the city. So when you look at it, we got the Dock Fest coming up. African Arts Institute's got a concert series this summer. Belleville is hosting the Quinte Bay Gymnastics Club Championships for the province. I know St. Teresa is hosting a big high school championship in school athletics, girls soccer. There's lots going on this summer. So when I look at the list on how and why each request got how much money they were given, approved for, and some in-kind services from the city, I thought it was important tonight to ask the chair of the committee, the grant committee, Councillor Chatton, to kind of explain how this works, because we know we have a second set coming through for grant application, and hopefully they'll have a chance to hear your comments, Chair Chatton, just about what's the process, what's involved, because I've never been on the grant committee.
Okay. Councillor Chatton.
Thank you, Chair, through you. So yeah, we have the tourism, two separate intakes. We had a total of like 140,000 to work with to begin with. And right now, for the second intake, we have about 89,000 that's left. So the process is that people will go online and fill out the application. Based on the matrix, the staff will look at each individual application. And something that you'll notice too is a lot of applicants will ask for the maximum amount. The maximum amount for each one of the applications is $10,000. So they will put it through their scrutiny, their matrix, and award, or not award, but they will recommend certain amounts that should be covered by the amount that we have to give. That comes to the committee table where we discuss if there's anything that looks a bit out of order, or if we have questions about whether somebody has a charitable number or nonprofit number. We ask whether or not they've been given an opportunity to apply for the second stream, which doesn't require that. That's for individuals, and it's also for for-profit tourism applications. So that would be one of our recommendations. And then once we're through our process, we bring it to council for approval here. And then those dollars go out.
Follow-up? Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess question two, I don't know who could answer this from the grant committee. So we were told the ask request is up to $10,000. So Bay of Quinte Gymnastics Club asked for in-kind services of $37,812, and I'm sure this is going to be a big championship over several days. What's the process, or who lets them know that, hey, you didn't qualify, we're going to give you this much, but good luck with your event? Because not all events are made equal. And there's some that draw a lot of people to our area and fill the hotels and the restaurants, and others are a nice event, but they're not all made equal. I guess I'm asking from an economic impact. If somebody's asking for $30,000 or $37,000 in kind, that must be a potentially big draw for the city. Is that fair?
So I'll direct your question to Director Ferguson, if I may, please.
Through the chair to Councillor Kelly. The evaluation criteria is set up and is meant to do that and to evaluate the benefit to the city, as well as we'll look at kind of the KPIs associated with the cost of the grant that we'll provide, as well as the participation that it provides to the community. So we do set up the evaluation criteria, and you will note the application in question is one of the higher ranked ones that's seeing a higher allocation of funding through the portfolio. Lots of very good events, very good for the community, but we do like to provide the evaluation metric to make sure that we do a fair and equitable evaluation of all events and allocate the funding accordingly. That is one of the applications that saw some of the larger allocation, but given the limited resources, we work within the budget and allocate accordingly.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you, the motion's carried. Moving on to item 8C, information items. Council may adopt information items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such motion, and council may consider items individually. As we only have one item on the information items, the recommendation reads that information item 8C2A be received. May I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Chatton, Councillor Thompson. Any discussion on the item from the Town of Lincoln resolution, request to the Province of Ontario to extend deadline for notices of intention to designate listed heritage properties, the Lincoln resolution re-heritage properties? Mover and a seconder I have. Thank you. Any discussion on this item? All in favor? The motion is carried. Moving on to item 8D, rise and report. That committee of the whole does now rise and return to council at 4:41 p.m. Mover, please. Thank you, Councillor Enright Miller. A seconder, Councillor Sue. All in favor? Thank you. The motion's carried.
Okay, I need a recommendation for bylaws. That's bylaws number 2026, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, and 52 be read and passed. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Councillor Brown?
Yes, I'd like to pull item 2026, if that was included in your list. I apologize. I'd like to pull 2026-046 if that was included in your list.
Yes, okay, what did you want to do with that then? Sorry.
I'd like to table the item and refer it to staff to evaluate the process that was used for this piece of property and what, if any, potential there would be to address in a way that the neighborhood as a whole would benefit from this. So I'd like to table it if I could, please.
The seconder for the table in motion? All in favor? Can you just see your hands? Record a vote, please. Councillor Thompson?
We don't get to speak?
Not a tabling motion, no.
Your worship, my apologies, I missed the second.
Councillor Carr.
Councillor Sue,
Yes.
Councillor Thompson,
No.
Councillor Brown,
Yes.
Councillor Carr,
Yes.
Councillor Chatton,
No.
Councillor Enright Miller,
Yes.
Councillor Henderson,
No.
Councillor Kelly,
No.
Mayor Ellis?
This is a vote to table, yes.
Yes. Carried by 5, your worship.
Okay, so that's carried. So the rest of the motions and rest of bylaws, I need a mover and a seconder. I did get that. Discussion from bylaws. All in favor? Carried. New business. Going down, Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, I opened up my news on Friday, and I read the news every morning, and I was surprised to learn that the Belleville Agricultural Society had made the difficult decision to cancel the fair this fall. And I was taken by surprise. I was talking with a couple members of council, they were too, just making sure I didn't miss anything. But last we had heard as a council that the timeline for construction was 2025. So through you, I was wondering if the city clerk would be able to provide an update as much as he can, and as well advise the public as to when council was advised as to the change in the timeline. Thank you.
I'll send that to CAO Matt McDonald.
Through the chair to Councillor Carr and to all of council. Excuse me. So staff met with, meet regularly with the Ag Society and the contractor, and we're advised, I believe on the 2nd we met with them, and that there was a scope change or a timetable change for the construction schedule, and that they were working towards getting that done on time, but that it was unlikely to happen in time to allow them to schedule. So they're not confident that they could meet that timeline. So we were waiting for, city staff were waiting for the Ag Society to have a meeting on the 8th, I believe. And so obviously council saw it in the media, as did most of staff in the city. And so that's unfortunate. We'd had discussion that we wanted to be aware of the decision of the board of the Ag Society so that we could make council aware, and that did not happen, and that's unfortunate.
Thank you. So my second question was, when was council, just so the public's aware, some of the comments online, certainly council's taking quite a bit of heat on this one. When was council officially advised as to the change in the timeline?
My understanding that council would have been Friday, after the media had advised. I think the majority of city staff were probably in the very same position as council. I know my first knowledge of the cancellation of the annual fall fair was on Friday in the media, and so officially council would have been advised later that same day.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate the update. Certainly, this is not to lay blame at the Belleville Agricultural Society. I can imagine, given the time of the year it is right now, they're in the process of deciding whether to sign contracts and things that they have to do in order to implement their fall fair. But I just wanted it known that certainly from a council perspective, we weren't aware that the timeline had changed until we started making some inquiries after this announcement. As far as council was concerned, we thought the summer of 2025 was still within reach. Thank you.
Anybody else under new business? Seeing none, motions, notice of motions, announcements, starting with Councillor Thompson. Anybody on this side for announcements? Councillor Enright Miller.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just have a couple committee announcements, if I may. Our annual seedling giveaway is happening May 2nd, and that's going to be behind City Hall at the Parrot Stage. And anybody can receive up to 5 free bare root seedlings, and we have several native trees that we're giving away this year. It's always a great success, and lots of people to come out. Starts at 9 o'clock. We usually end up around noon, running out of seedlings. So please partake, bring a bag or a pail to transport your seedlings home. And the giveaway days are back, May 9th and 10th. It's an eco-friendly community event initiated by the Green Task Force, which started in 2021, and we're so proud it's continuing with great success. Participating residents are encouraged to put out gently used household items that are no longer wanted to the curb for pickup, and this will provide other residents with a chance to look through what has been set out to be taken, clearly marked with a free sign which you can download from the city website. So to learn more about that, just visit belleville.ca/giveaway days and print out your free sign. And also Trash Bash is back, Saturday, April 25th. You can get involved by signing up at quinnytrashbash.ca. Pick up your supply kit here at City Hall. We will have 2 drop-off locations, one at the old fairgrounds and one at Quinny Sports and Wellness Center. Our Green Task Force Committee members will be there to help out, and it's from 9 to 1. So we appreciate everybody's help with that. Last year we collected 2.48 tons, and this year we're hoping to hit 2.50 tons. So let's all bash some trash together, is the saying. And just to let everybody know, the City of Belleville Leaf and Yard Waste Depot opened today at 75 Wellbridge Crescent. We had lots of questions about when that was happening, so thank you, Mr. Reed, for doing that. The Belleville Accessibility Advisory Committee, just a reminder that the nominations for Accessibility Excellence Awards are open until May 27th, and these awards help recognize those who are making a difference in our community for more accessible living for all. You can visit belleville.ca/accessibility awards to nominate anyone you feel has contributed to making Belleville more accessible. So thank you for that. And lastly, I wanted everybody watching to know that if you were thinking about building an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, on your property, CMHC, under their local partners program, have come up with a catalog of near permit ready housing designed to use. These plans are designed to help streamline the building process and reduce upfront design costs, and have been previewed by our building department. The city offers a $5,000 rebate per unit, and you can learn more and explore the design catalog at belleville.ca/ADU and belleville.ca/near permit ready designs. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Councillor Kelly?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Just a quick shout out to the 417 Bus Lines U13 Quinny Red Devils. They won the provincial championships yesterday in Waterloo, U13. Congratulations to Coach Kyle Adams and all the players. Pretty special to win an All-Ontario championship. And all the best, and have a safe summer.
Okay, anybody else? Just got a few announcements here. Week of April 22nd, 29 is World Primary Immune Deficiency Week. April 19th is Global Congenital Diaphragmatic Hernia Awareness Day. Month of April as Military Child and Teal Up Day. Just a couple of quick announcements. On Saturday, I attended the International Science Fair. It was great to see a lot of students there, and I think, Councillor Kelly, you won that award at the Science Fair way back in high school. And yesterday, I had the honor of giving awards out at the Quinny Bay Gymnastics Ontario Provincial Championship at the Wally Dever, and it was just full. So 2 great events with our kids, our students out there, are really making this community a great community. So with that, I need a motion for a confirmation bylaw 2026-53 be read and passed. Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. All in favor? Carried. And a motion to adjourn at 10 to 5, moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Brown. All in favor? Carried.